MTG Monster, your place for Commander games every Monday and Thursday. Goblin approved. Hey, let me get another sip of that generic goblin noise, would you?
Hey gang, just to let you know, you can now use the promo code MTGMudsta, all caps, at flipsidegaming.com and originalmagicart.store. Using the code gets you 10% off orders $10 or more, and you get to help out the channel at the same time. I also want to let you know that Flipside Gaming will be giving away a box of War of the Sparks. From April 1st through May 6th, any order that's over $10 or more will get you entered to win. One entry per person, so good luck and have fun. Today's game was edited in Ottawa. It's the first one I've done since moving, so you'll have to forgive me if it's a bit echoey. I'm still trying to fill out the office, and things will get better over time. Today's game has me playing Mistform Ultimus, keeping an Arcane Adaptation, Rite of Replication, Laboratory Maniac, 2 Islands, Trinket Mage, and Soul Ring. Bree is back with her Vorel deck, keeping a Thada Adel, a Forest, Shrine of Loyal Legions, Temple of the False God, 2 Islands, and Scrounging Bandar. Matt is playing as Multani and keeps Rampant Growth, Green Sun Zenith, 2 Forests, Rogue's Passage, Soul Ring, and Blighted Woodland. And last but not least, we have Nathan, who drove all the way from I think Cincinnati, playing his Kozilek deck. He keeps an Encroaching Wastes, Mirror Pool, Wastes, Palladium Mirror, Mirror Retriever, Karn Silver Golem, and a Treasure Map. Matt wins the die roll and starts us off. Matt plays a Forest and casts Soul Ring. Bree plays a Forest and she casts Chimeric Mass where X is 1. I play an Island and I cast Soul Ring. Nathan plays a Mirror Pool which comes in tapped and passes. Matt plays a Forest and he casts Wayward Swordtooth. This lets him play a second land for turn, and Rogue's Passage hits the field and immediately gets tapped. He uses the mana to cast a Rampant Growth for another basic and passes to Bree. Bree plays an Island and casts Shrine of the Loyal Legion and passes to me. I play an Island and I cast Trinket Mage to find a 1-drop or less artifact. I also cast a Gale Rider Sliver before going to search. I grab a Stoneforge Masterwork, putting it to hand, and I pass to Nathan. Nathan plays an Encroaching Wastes and casts Treasure Map. Matt casts a Lotus Cobra, then plays 2 lands, gaining 2 green as they come in from the landfall triggers. He has enough mana at this point to cast a Green Sun Zenith, where X is 7, and he goes to find an Avenger of Zendikar. As the Avenger comes in, he gains 6 plant tokens, and his Wayward Swordtooth can now attack because he has City's Blessing. Moving to combat, Matt hits me for 5 and passes to Bree. On her upkeep, Bree gains a counter on her shrine, and she then plays an island in her main phase. We then see Vorel come into play, and Bree passes. I play an island for turn, and I swing my Gale Rider Sliver at Matt for 1. I then pass. Nathan plays a Waste for his turn, and he casts Palladium Mirror before passing. Matt plays a Forest, and resolves his Avenger landfall trigger first. He puts a +1/+1 counter onto his plants, and he then gains 1 green floating from the Lotus Cobra. Matt uses the green and some other mana to crack the Blighted Woodland, going to find 2 basics, and giving his plants 2 more +1/+1 counters and gaining 2 more green mana. Matt then casts Multani, and he moves to combat. He swings his plant tokens at me, and the Swordtooth at Bree. Before moving to blockers, I flash in Stunt Double, having it come in as a copy of the Avenger. I gain 3 plant tokens, and then I block one of Matt's plant tokens with my Avenger, taking 15. Bree doesn't block, and she takes the hit of 5 as well. Bree gains another counter on her shrine, and plays another island before passing to me. My turn is pretty quick, as I cast Rite of Replication and copy my Avenger of Zendikar. I get 3 more plant tokens, and I then play an island. This gives each of my plants 2 +1/+1 counters as it comes in, and I then drop a Stoneforge Masterwork and pass to Nathan. Nathan plays a Mystifying Maze, and he casts Mind Stone. He then all but taps out to cast Karn Silver Golem, and passes. Matt activates his Rogue's Passage in his main phase to make Multani unblockable, and moving to combat, swings the Swamp Thing at me. I drop to 11 because Matt thankfully doesn't have Berserk in his hand, and Matt then passes. At the end of Matt's turn, Bree activates Vorel to double the counters on her shrine. Bree puts another counter on her shrine and plays a Temple of the False God. It's active, and she then passes. I make an odd choice on my turn by casting Arcane Adaptation and name plants as it comes into play. I then put the Stoneforge Masterwork onto my Gale Rider Sliver plant, and I count up my creatures after swinging it at Matt. Matt can't block it, and takes 10 as I pass to Nathan. Nathan draws, and casts Chaos Wand in his main phase, and with nothing else, passes to Matt. Matt casts a Sylvan Safekeeper to start off his turn, and once again makes Multani unblockable with the Rogue's Passage. He swings his commander at me, dealing another 9, and I drop to a measly 2 life. Matt then passes, and at the end of turn, Bree doubles the counters on her shrine with Vorel's ability. Bree forgets to add her counter on her shrine on her upkeep, and plays a Vivid Creek for her land for turn. It comes in tapped with 2 counters on it, and she passes to me. I draw for turn, and I play Darksteel Citadel as my land for turn. This triggers both of my Avengers, who are now also plants, and my entire board gains 2 +1/+1 counters on them from the Darksteel Citadel. I then realize I should have cast a Mistform before playing the land, but what can you do? I then drop Laboratory Maniac to help with my blocks, and I move to combat. I swing my Gale Rider at Matt for 14, and Matt asks Nathan if he can make the Masterwork into a creature to have it fall off with this Karn. Nathan isn't super keen on this, and just lets the hit happen. I pass, and at the end of my turn, Nathan activates his Chaos Wand. He targets me, and the first card we hit is Arcane Denial, which he doesn't want to cast, and puts to the bottom. Nathan draws for his turn, and he casts a Mirror Retriever. With nothing else, he passes to Matt. Matt draws and plays a Forest. His plants gain a measly +1/+1 counter in comparison to mine, and he activates his Rogue's Passage, putting it onto the Wayward Swordtooth. Nathan decides he doesn't want to try and save me with his wand, and the Swordtooth comes at me, taking me out. At the end of turn, Bree doubles her counters on the shrine, and why has no one dealt with this yet? Bree upticks her shrine in her upkeep, and plays a Forest. She then casts a Thada Adel, who seems particularly well suited against Nathan's deck. With nothing else, she passes turn, and before moving from her end step, Nathan uses the Encroaching Waste to kill Matt's Rogue's Passage. Nathan plays a Waste for his turn, and passes, not too sure if it's a good idea to have poked the bear that is Multani. Matt plays a Forest, and adds another +1/+1 counter to his plant tokens, and Multani gains larger still. He casts a Splendid Reclamation, and the spell resolves, bringing 2 lands which come into play tapped. Matt gains 2 more +1/+1 counters on his plants, bringing them to 7/8. Moving to combat, he swings the plants at Nathan and Multani at Bree. Before moving to blockers, Nathan activates his Chaos Wand and targets Bree. He's hoping to hit something good, but he hits Lost in the Mists, which he doesn't want to cast. Nathan then taps his Palladium Mirror to activate Karn's ability and has the treasure map become a creature. He uses the last floating mana to sacrifice the Mind Stone and draws a card. Nathan then blocks 3 and takes 14, while Bree doesn't block at all and takes 11. With the Mirror Retriever dying, Nathan returns the Mind Stone to his hand. Matt passes, and at the end of turn, Bree doubles the shrine to have a whopping 42 counters on it. She then sacrifices it to make 42 mirror tokens, which is just madness. Bree untaps and moves straight to combat, as one should. She swings 19 tokens at Matt and 13 at Nathan. This is enough to take Matt out, even with blockers, and Nathan blocks 1, taking 12. In her second main phase, Bree casts Superior and passes. Nathan draws and plays a Homeward Path. He recasts the Mind Stone, which he returned earlier with the Mirror Retriever dying, and passes. At the end of turn, Bree doubles the counters on her Chimeric Mass. Bree draws and moves to combat. She swings everything at Nathan, who activates the Chaos Wand to hopefully save himself by hitting a Fog. They go 2 cards deep into Bree's deck, and Nathan hits Whir of Invention. He can't really save himself with any zero-costing artifacts in his deck, and he promptly extends the hand, and Bree wins the game. Game review time! So my Mistform Ultimate deck is coming along. I've played it a lot, so hopefully you guys aren't getting sick of it, but I've learned some valuable lessons, and cut some key cards, and added some new ones in. I think I'm finally starting to hone in on the final 99, and I'll probably be doing a Conquering Your Commander on the deck later on. It was great to meet Nathan, and he drove crazy amounts of miles just to be in the game, but unfortunately his deck didn't perform. Thankfully we filmed a couple games with him, so look forward to seeing him in future videos. Matt's Multani deck is a thing to be reckoned with, and the Rogue's Passage on his commander was scary. He was swinging for at least 9 damage, if not more, by the end of the game, and he saw a lot of ways to pump his commander to do lethal amounts of commander damage in one shot. Unfortunately, I think what ended up happening was Matt and I got into a bit of an arms race, and we both focused on each other while leaving Bree alone. As a result, Bree was able to sneakily continue to double her counters on her shrine, getting more and more mirror tokens when she finally popped it. I think had Matt drawn a piece of removal like Crossing Grip, the game would have been very different. But he didn't, so Bree's strategy of sitting back and controlling the game while letting her opponents beat the heck out of each other, and then finishing us all off, was a great one. Please be sure to tune in every Monday and Thursday at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time for a guaranteed new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at MTGMudsta. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/mtgmudsta. And lastly, you can check me out when I stream at twitch.tv/mtgmudsta. This video is brought to you in support by my patrons. If you're looking for a way to help out the channel, please be sure to visit the link below. Thank you all for watching this video, and don't forget, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.